Hi, I'm Xtina, and this is XtinaCrossing. I have a little bit of a confession to make today. My name is Xtina, and my toxic trait is that I will see something cool or impressive, artistic, and creative, and I'll look at it, and I know that it takes skill, schooling, training, certification, hundreds, if not thousands, of hours of practice. I'll watch a few YouTube videos, read a blog or two, and then think to myself, yeah, I can do that. I don't know what compels me to do these things, but I just get random bouts of confidence and inspiration, and they become these wild little projects of mine. If you need evidence to support this, please see my karopi stack video in which I made an entire Swedish princess torta cake and made it look like a karopi snack. See also cutting my own hair. Third example, doing my own nails. Yeah, I watched a few of nail career education videos and thought, yeah, I can do that. Anyhow, being that it is Halloween and spooky season, I decided why not combine my love for baking awesome things and Animal Crossing and make some spooky cookies from Animal Crossing. The ingredients for the spooky cookies are as follows. You need flour. Now, I didn't have all weekend to dedicate to this video, so I already went and harvested my wheat yesterday. Orange pumpkins, yellow pumpkins, white pumpkins, and green pumpkins. That's it. All right, let's cook up a storm.
I started making the cookies by weighing out all the ingredients, which includes all-purpose flour, cornstarch, as well as granulated sugar. Then I sifted the dry ingredients, which are the flour, salt, and cornstarch, to make sure that there were no lumps. Next, I creamed the butter and sugar. You don't usually need to sift sugar, but mine had lumps in it for whatever reason. I added the flour just a little bit at a time so I didn't make a huge mess of my kitchen. Eventually the mixer started to struggle and I moved on to mixing everything with my hands. It didn't take very long before the dough came together and it ended up looking a little bit like Play-Doh. Once the dough came together, I put it in a Ziploc bag and pressed it down before putting it in the fridge to chill for a few minutes. Now it's time to work on the royal icing. After sifting a ton of powdered sugar, I added some cornstarch and just a little bit of water. I mixed it by hand first because I didn't want the powdered sugar to fly all over the place. Then you use your mixer and mix for 7 minutes. Eventually it goes from off-white to a bright white color and a fluffy consistency. Time for the fun part, which is coloring all of royal icing. I doled out 4 bowls because I needed 4 colors in addition to the white. So I reserved a little bit of white, put that directly into a piping bag, and we were good to go on that front. Once I shoved all of that icing into the bag, I made sure to tie it off so that it was secure and it wouldn't come out of the back end of the bag and make a huge mess. This is where I made a bit of a mistake. I should have started by dyeing the next lightest color, which would have been yellow, but I started with black for whatever reason. If you're doing this, don't do that. Start with the lightest color first, because if I had spilled this or gotten this on my hand, I would have made a huge mess. I then went on to do orange, yellow, and lastly green until I had all 5 bags of color. I quickly realized that I got way too big of a piece of cookie dough. After trimming it up a bit, it was a lot easier to manage on the workspace that I was using. I rolled the dough out to about 1/4 inch thick before I started cutting out all of the cookie cutter shapes. What you don't see here is all the mental math that I'm doing to make sure that I have enough of each of the different shapes to match the way it looks in the game. Here are the cookies before baking and after baking. This is the second batch that I threw in the oven, and after all those cookies, that's all the dough I had left. After cooling the cookies, it was finally time to decorate. I massaged the bags of royal icing just a bit to make sure that there weren't any lumps or crystals in the bags. This part was super nerve-wracking because I didn't know how much or how little of the bag I needed to snip off. I just kept envisioning a whole bunch of icing flooding out of the tip of the piping bag and making a huge sticky mess everywhere. Thankfully, it didn't happen. Alright, so my game plan here was to move slowly, be patient, which is a huge challenge for me. I also wanted to be very mindful of the order that I was using the colors, so I tried to work with the lighter colors first so I wouldn't stain my hands or get any transfer. Also, by using the lighter colors first, you give that royal icing enough time to harden up before you go in and do any kind of embellishment and adding designs. The toughest part of this whole thing, and the thing that I critique myself the most on, are the little faces on the jack-o'-lanterns. Y'all, I really struggled with some of these faces. It's really hard. After hours of baking and decorating, here's how they turned out. Here they are plated just like they are in the game. Here are the cookies with all the ingredients. And a side-by-side comparison of my cookies with the in-game cookies. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed.